Bengals extend Trey Hendrickson. We'll talk about that coming up next on the Wincinnati podcast.
Yes. Hello, world. We got a special show as always. TJ Houshmandzada, Jimmy Chase, Coach Jimmy Burrow.
How do you balance being a professional athlete and family obligation?
These are top 5 Bengals of all time.
All time?
Yeah.
Shock the world.
Welcome to a special edition of the Wincinnati podcast. I am Ace. He is Zim. We wanted to get to you guys because we had some major news happen. So we had to come with an emergency podcast to discuss the Trey Hendrickson kind of situation. Zim, how are you doing, bro? I think it's a great day.
I'm doing good. You know, we was just coming straight from a quick cook fest. Had to cook up some boys online real quick, all in the name of Who Dey. So that makes me feel real good. But I'm really excited to be talking meaningful football, shoulder pads on, guys out there going through all the stuff. So I'm really excited about that. And I got a lot going on outside of that in my normal life, but I feel like football is somewhat therapeutic in that regard.
Now, we also coming off of the Joe Mixon all-white party. They just made the announcement for the all-whites. That's why I'm wearing this. Obviously, the Bengals just announced that the Ring of Honor game week 3 against the Rams, that's going to be the all-white game. Training camp is kicked off. Like, everything is going crazy right now.
Are you going to that game?
Yeah, that's one of the ones that I'm trying to go to. I'm trying to go to that one. I had a feeling that was going to be the one that I could go to. Unfortunately, since I can't make the opener because my daughter's birthday is that weekend, it's going to have to be that one. So hopefully I can make that whiteout. It's going to be a dope time. But like I just said earlier, we're going to be talking about the Bengals being back in camp. Training camp has kicked off. It actually kicked off Wednesday, July 26th. This is the 27th as we're recording it. They're actually at camp as we speak right now. And then we'll talk about the extensions. Trey Hendrickson, what does that mean? Does that mean that there's more on the way? Is a T. Higgins thing going to happen? Obviously, Justin Herbert just put pen to paper. So obviously that bodes well for Burrow. Then we're going to continue our second part of the AFC North offensive side of the player rankings coming up next. Right, the Bengals return to training camp as they prepare for the 2023 offseason. Trey Hendrickson headlined it on day 2 when news broke this morning of him signing a 1-year extension through the 2025 season. Had 2 years left on his deal. Bengals breaking precedent to make that happen. Bro, I didn't see this coming. I'm not going to lie. Like, I thought Myles Murphy could be a potential heir apparent or something like that. The fact that they were able to bring Hendrickson back is major. What were your thoughts on Trey Hendrickson being extended?
I thought it was a testament to like what the Bengals is on 2 different ends. You got this tight-knit group that Joe Burrow spoke about yesterday that just loves being around each other. You got that. You got big-time players like the Joe Mixons of the world, Jermaine Pratt in the offseason with his deal that he did that was very team-friendly, I thought. And now Trey Hendrickson saying, hey, look, I can help alleviate some of that pressure. And I think at the same time, he's outperformed his original 4-year, $60 million deal. So it made sense for both parties, kind of, push forward a signing bonus. We haven't gotten all the details from him yet. So we're recording this about 3 o'clock Thursday. But, getting the signing bonus, alleviating some of that cap. So now when we're now alleviating some of that cap, now some of these other deals on their ends, the big dollar ones, like say a Joe Burrow one, now you have more cap space to work with. So maybe less cash on his and more push to the cap on his, or maybe that's T. Higgins. We don't know, but it does give you cap relief. And that's the reason why you do it. Some people say, why would you do that? Cap savings, get the money up front, changes up the cap structure. And that's how everybody has been working this whole entire all season. We're all working under the same cap. And people that say that the Bengals aren't going to be able to do it, they used to be cash poor. They are not now. And they have been showing it with the Orlando Brown $30-something million check. The Jermaine Pratt, $11 million. They've been shelling out cash, and this is another testament to they have cash.
No, for sure. And speaking of Orlando Brown and Trey Hendrickson, they got into it day one. They had a scuffle. If you saw the picture that Ryan put up, you can actually see the scars on his neck, as pointed out by Joe Goodberry, which was crazy. It looked like he got mauled by like a tiger or something, man. What's going on, Orlando? But
Bro, that is a gnarly. I've
crazy.
never seen somebody claw like that. He
Right.
actually looked like he got into a fight with like a tiger.
Yeah, it looks like he got mauled for sure. But apparently, from what I read yesterday, and Orlando was definitely apologetic about it. He said that he wasn't aware that Trey Hendrickson practices exactly how he plays, which is super aggressive. So kind of caught him off guard. Said that he blacked out. But I mean, to just see the energy of that, something like that happening on the first day. I mean, you've played football. I've played football before. Usually, sometimes when fights break out, that's a good thing. That's the competitive spirit. That's guys wanting to give their all and, make sure that the other guy doesn't get the best of them. And whenever we've been able to see a fight really break out, I think except outside of La'el Collins last year for our offensive linemen. So, I mean, we definitely have some glass eaters there. Those dudes made up for it. But Zim, you wanted to say something else?
I got some details on this Trey Hendrickson one. Listen to this real quick. I know that we kind of went back. I just want to go through this. This is what they're initially saying. This is insane. Trey Hendrickson had already earned $3 million in all-season roster bonuses, was due just a base salary of 9.8. With the one-year extension, it is rumored that he got an $18 million signing bonus, which will lower his salary cap hit to the league minimum of $1 million. Remember, Orlando Brown's is structured very similar, where his base salary, Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, is $1 or $2 million or something like that. But this would make Trey Hendrickson's cap hit $1 million, giving the Bengals a crazy amount of cap space, if that is true, and earning up to $22 million in cash in just the 2023 season alone.
That's crazy. I mean, this could be a T. Higgins move. This could be for Logan Wilson. This could obviously be for Joe Burrow. I mean, I think it's smart on both ends because you're keeping one of the best players on the Bengals. You're extending his window, right? Especially with you wanting to keep Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and these guys as long as you possibly can. Extending him is huge. Another thing that happened
is this is pushing the chips in. This is pushing the chips in by saying, I'll pay this man the cash up front. We'll figure out some of these other things later, and we could cut ties with him, whatever. Let's pay him what he's worth right now. But later on, we're giving ourselves options.
And it looks like that base salary for Orlando Brown Jr. is $1.5 million. So you were right in the ballpark on that. But they also talked to number 9. He said that the first day of camp was great. He looked extremely accurate. A lot of guys just really hit the ground rolling. So that was dope to hear from Joe talk about, T, his own perspective deal, what he does it for the locker room. It was a lot of good clips on that. And then obviously we kind of talked about this early on. They activated Chido off of the PUP list, which is huge, right? This is crazy because he had that knee injury. This means that he's in play for week 1. You'd have to assume that Zach Taylor said that they'll ease him back into things, but I think that this puts him on schedule to come back week 1. However, on the flip side of the injury things, Terrell Basham actually suffered an injury today in camp. I believe, Zim, you said that it's a potential ankle injury for him, something to monitor. He was kind of, I wouldn't say a long shot to make the roster, but I kind of feel like he would have been having the battle. So hopefully he can get back and try to make the roster. But yeah, man, I mean, there's a lot of dope stuff, I think, going on right now in training camp. But we're going to get into some of the things that Coach Taylor had with his interview, with some of the comments that he had. So Coach Taylor said that he is going to play some of his starters in the preseason, including Joe Burrow. He said that is on the table. I think that we kind of understand that because last year we saw with them not really playing the linemen. We got out there week 1 without him playing Burrow. Everybody had the rust on them. So it seems like that's what Zach is going to do. I'm not really surprised by this because we saw what happened last preseason. But what are your thoughts on these these situations with the starters? Like, who do you want to see in the preseason, and what are your thoughts on what Zach said?
I said this last season when we were in here, and I think me and you were kind of like on the same page. I think we were pretty close. I don't really mind starters not playing because I understand how social media works, and I understand the PR nightmare that will come along with someone potentially getting hurt in a game that means nothing. Right. Now, I do understand how they started off really slow, and you need to have some guys out there. So Joe Burrow even said, man, we need to get a couple series, or he would like to get a couple series. So in my mind, you got the joint practices where you can control that. Starters out there, you do that. And then one preseason game, I like to see them get like two series starters on offense, 2 series starters on defense. Maybe safety wise, you might have to bite the bullet and see a little bit more. You might have to play like a whole second half of Jordan Battle, or you might have to play a whole first quarter of Nick Scott or Dax Hill, like, and just live with the consequences, because you really need those guys you need to get into checks and communicate in those spots. And I think that's the one position that they need to communicate and be on the same accord, so that when we hit week 1, there is no doubt. And I do understand that part. But outside of that, man, 2 series.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the 2 series is perfect. But you did bring up a great point. The dilemma is the safety position. You got to figure out, which of those guys are going to get first team snaps. That's going to be important. I think that you need to see Nick Scott and Jordan Battle both with the first team. So maybe one series with Nick Scott, maybe another series with Jordan Battle. But I do expect, like you said, those guys to possibly play more in the preseason than most of the other guys. At the edge, I wonder how much that they really play Miles Murphy. Like, what are they going to do there? Obviously DJ Turner, that's going to be some interesting things to see there. Is he going to get any opportunities with the starters? Because he could be a guy that could, share some snaps with Mike Hilton, or maybe one of the outside corners per se. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, when it comes to Joe Burrow, just get him like 1 or 2 series and get him out of there, man. Jamar Chase, let them just get 1 series together, 1 or 2, like you said, and do it. What about Chido though? Like, Chido being back is major. What would you say about him? Possibly playing in the preseason. Do you put Chido out there? Because that's
a great question, bro. I would need to see the progress of him at camp and how they're doing his current stuff. But he's the one guy, I think he knows what he needs to do. He knows all his assignments, and he's kind of like Joe Burrow mentally. He just needs a couple reps out there. I don't know if you put him as a corner out there, like maybe you put him in like some hybrid corner type role, so he's just getting some backpedaling out there, feeling the speed. Players want to feel, I remember me playing football, and I wasn't really that great, but I did start. But I remember me telling my coach one time, like, hey, look, I do want to like us running and stuff like that is cool. But I think we should go to pads a little bit early. Like, we should put on pads like this upcoming week, coach, because it's kind of like you just need to feel it a little bit, just to say, just to feel like you're really back. And you hear a lot of players say, yeah, I want to get tackled one time. And somebody coming off an injury like that, him getting in on the tackle might be, you don't want him thinking in the middle of a game, going to a tackle and then thinking like guarding his knee. You want him like mentally getting into like, I want to think football, and you don't want him to think about it. So that's one of those ones I really don't have a real good answer for you. But I would be very cautious. I would use DJ Turner as much as I can, like week 1. I wouldn't even, I've said that before. I don't care how good he tells me he is. He wouldn't be the starting CB1 for us with me until like week 4, week 5. But week 1, 2 through 3, I'm playing like 18 to 20 something snaps, like on crucial downs and stuff like that, and then ramp it up. And by the time you get to week 5, it's not even we're not even talking about it anymore.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I have to agree with you because Cheeto is extremely important to the secondary. I mean, obviously they were able to hold it down without him, but I think the luxury of having a DJ Turner, like you said, and having that depth on the outside with a Sidney Jones, who's also a veteran who's started before, is it allows you to not have to put Cheeto immediately out there and put him in harm's way. Whether, we're not saying that he's not healthy. Obviously, he's been cleared, but to just play it safe because we know that we need Cheeto for the playoffs. We know that we need him for Kansas City. We know that we need him, for the Super Bowl potentially. So I think the fact that that's how important he is as a guy that could completely wipe away your best wide receiver on the opponent's team is major. But let's also talk about Burrow, man, because when Burrow was speaking, he kind of talked about he keeps knocking on wood. I'm going to knock on wood with him. This is his first real training camp. He had COVID the first year, didn't even have one. He ended up having the injury, and he had the surgery. So, this is the first time, knock on wood, again, I'm knocking with you, Joe, that nothing has happened thus far through camp. That's major, bro, because a lot of the time when you're building up that chemistry and comfort, especially with a new offensive line, with these new weapons, a lot of that is built in camp. So it's dope for him to have his first real training camp. What were your thoughts on Burrow having his first real camp?
It's something that I preach to the ops. They're calling me Pastor Zim. I'm in Twitter Spaces giving sermons and stuff. And one of the things that I've been saying is that I don't think you all are paying attention, but Joe Burrow is really, really happy right now because he's never had a full off season. He came in with the COVID year. After that, he was rehabbing, and then the appendectomy the year after that. This is his first full, and he talked about the speed of it. If you watch him like I watched every single thing that Joe Burrow's ever done since he's been drafted here, he talks about it ad nauseum on Colin Cowherd's show that he was doing last season with him about him getting reps. And I think, if you look at the Steelers week 1 last season, yeah, it started off real rough. 4 picks or 4 turnovers or whatever they had, 3 picks, I don't know. By the time he gets to the second half, go rewatch that game. Go rewatch the offensive line. It's not like what people think. It's a lot of good from the offensive line. It's a lot of good from Cordell Volson after the rough first half. And Joe Burrow ends up throwing for 350 in the game. He still wasn't perfect, but you understand? So I'm just for the first time, he's getting those reps. And he talks about reps a lot on that Colin Cowherd show that he was doing weekly. And he was and Colin asked him, why do you think you do so good at the end of football games? And he was like, because at that point, I've done so many reps. And I think he's one of those guys. And Joe Burrow's dad had talked about this on Dan Hoar's show. And Jamar Chase's dad had talked about this on the show. They're just 2 guys that love to practice. And it might sound a lot of cliche to a lot of people, but I think that they feel really, really good, and it gives them a superpower. So when you're giving this guy his first full off season, a guy that came off of a rehab from an ACL injury, 9 months, and came out there and went to a Super Bowl, you give him a full off season. Look out, world.
No, for sure. I think you're right when it comes to that. Reps is one of the most important things. I've been telling you about it, the Steph Curry master class with my son. That's one of the things that he puts emphasis on with improving your shooting is reps. So whether it's throwing, whether it's catching, whatever it is, reps are definitely important. So I could totally see why he's honing in on that. But that's going to bring us into the contract side about Burrow and what Mike Brown and Duke Tobin's comments have been. Mike Brown says that Joe Burrow is a priority and we want all the guys we can get, but we may have to go short in a couple of cases. And then Duke Tobin says he wants to be paid what he's worth. Justin Herbert signed a 5-year, $262.5 million extension on Tuesday. Burrow himself, though, seems like he's kind of speaking up for his teammates, talking about how he wants to make it work with all of them. From ownership, it seems like they've kind of respected each other in the right of, hey, let's not publicly discuss the contract. Let's agree to not talk about that publicly. What are your thoughts on it? Because, you can be the highest paid player in the league, but you can kind of structure your contract in a way to where that may not be the case. You might have the highest average money, but you might not have the highest guaranteed money, or it may be structured through 10 years so that it's a certain type of deal. What are your thoughts on just what Duke and Mike Brown had to say? Because a lot of people took it, and I think you talked about this in a space. It was like people were going doomsday when they heard Mike Brown say that when it came to some of the other guys that are up.
I think business-wise, you need a Mike Brown. I know a lot of people are not Mike Brown fans. I get it. I'm a little younger, but I'm not that young. And you need a Mike Brown-like figure in business negotiations at any level that isn't going to just give in to every single thing. You're looking at a team like, not trying to pick on the Saints, that are in cap hell, have given into demands of a lot of players, given into the Michael Thomases and all these different guys that should have restructured and they didn't. You got to have a guy there at some point in the conversation that is a little bit more stern in his delivery. Now, he might very well know that he is going to give up a lot of money, but he's not giving it up. You know, me and you, we don't just blow money. You know what I'm saying? So, like, we kind of conserve and we'll spend money when we, you know what I mean? And I feel like Mike Brown has a lot of that in him. Is he a little bit cheaper sometimes, even in 2023? Probably so. So, and I'm not here to tell y'all that he's not, but at the same time, I just thought that he's not going to come out there and say, yeah, we're giving everybody what they want. He's got to be that one, you know, like I bet you they play good cop, bad cop. Him and his granddaughter, or him and his, you know, like they probably be in a room, and then Katie probably be like, well, Mike isn't going, you know, like they probably do a little bit of that. It's all business to me, and I feel like that's why it's like tight-lipped. Everybody can't be like Duke Tobin says, get your own, and we bring it in. And then Joe Burrow says, I think we bringing back everybody. Everybody can't say that. And if everybody was saying that, they would get, I was going to say something else. They would get ran through. They would get ran. And I don't know. Like, that's how I look at it.
So with Herbert kind of out there, don't you kind of feel like if he's at 262, Burrow's at like 265 or 270 or something like that? Because Adam Schefter came out and said that he feels like it's going to be more than what Herbert's deal is. And I think everybody should expect that because Joe at this point in his career has been the better quarterback. Let's just call it what it is. And he's more accomplished and things from that aspect. What were your thoughts just like on the 270? Does that even matter? Because me personally, I don't know if the number actually matters per se, like if he goes over him.
I mean, see, so look, the Trey Hendrickson deal, that's why that's so important. I don't know the full parameters of the deal, but I like to imagine that might get him like $9-10 million of cap space, which is insane. Mixon gave them, I think, $3 to $5 million in cap. So you start adding all that cap space. So now, why is that important? When they go to do the signing bonus, sure, Joe Burrow might get a huge signing bonus. But if you're going to make him the highest paid, you could spread that out and factor that into the cap. So if you have more cap space, say I'm going to give you a hypothetical, just a quick one. Instead of paying them 50, you could easily say, I'm going to give you 60, but I'm not giving it to you up front cash. I'm going to use the cap space that I just got from Trey Hendrickson. And now I'm giving you $60 million per. Some of that will be in signing bonuses, some will be in cash, some will be workout bonuses. But at the end of the day, you're going to get 60 in this year's time. Remember the revenue share check that they just got the other day. What was that, Ryan? Do you know, or Ace? Do you know? Wasn't it like $270 million? So naturally, you're a good functioning business. You can't use the whole check on Joe Burrow, but you can take a little piece out of the pie, go like 20-30 million, maybe. That's kind of high. You say, yeah, I'm going to sprinkle some of that cash on there. You're going to come back and you do all these different things. But the reason why the Burrow making the highest paid is very possible because the structure of the contract is more important. The guarantees and what we're going to be highlighting at some point are the rolling guarantees. The rolling guarantees in the Justin Herbert contract allow Justin Herbert to give his team $14 million in cap space in the 2024 season because the rolling guarantees kick in later and different things kick in later where you're not seeing a Deshaun Watson type situation where a team is saying 230 in escrow and you can't touch the money. That's why this offseason they came back and was like, oh, how can we alleviate this? All right, we'll give him $130 million. They had to do that because it's not a good contract. It's stupid, and they had to do it because they had other competing markets and other teams like the Falcons, Panthers, all that. They had to do that. But Joe Burrow can help them out in the structure. The cap space is how he can get it. They might give him $20-30 million in cash a year. His cap hit might be $20 million. It might not even be that much for whatever, but his annual salary can be paid through season ticket holders, the revenue check that they just got, TV money, and then all of that comes out to give him $60 million in this hypothetical that I'm giving, and that's how he can be paid and still work out for the team. You're on mute. I think you're still on mute. Ace, if you can hear me, I don't know. So,
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been speaking on mute this whole time. Sorry about
the
that.
entire hold on, could you hear me?
Time.
I was saying you was on mute. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I hate to say this and it be completely unrelated, but DJ Turner just made 2 pass breakups in practice. He's looking very good out there. But speaking of players and rankings, we did some last week. This week, we're going to hit you with the offensive sides of those, and it's going to be based on the division, which is the AFC North. And what better position, since we just talked about Joe Burrow, than to speak about the AFC North quarterback. So Ryan is going to do us the favor of getting these up here for us. We appreciate him doing this. And we're going to come up with our consensus AFC North top 5 quarterbacks. I think it's pretty fair to say at 1, we already know we putting Burrow there, right? It's number 9. Number 9 at 1. So let's just go ahead and get it.
Easy money.
You could have just automatically had that there, Ryan. I know the Ravens fans listening going to be salty, but yeah, you could have started this with that already in there. I don't think you would have gotten too many complaints. Number 2, I feel like that's Lamar. What are you thinking? Like, I feel like Deshaun Watson would have been able to have an argument had he played better last year, but he really played. I mean, dude lost to Kenny Pickett. Let's just keep it a buck. So for me, I'm going to put Lamar here. What about you, Zim?
I was contemplating. I was thinking Trevor Siemian. I was going to go Simi, but I'm going to go Lamar. I think when he's healthy, he's one of the most dynamic players to ever touch a football.
Facts, for sure. And, we were Lamar fans while he was in college. We can't be Lamar fans while he's on the Purple People team, but we do respect the talent that he has there. Another guy, it's a little controversial. We already know, hide the lotion, but we got to go with Deshaun Watson at number 3.
Hide the lotion is out of pocket. Can you imagine hanging out with him and he'd be like, bro, what's that in your pocket? He'd be like, there better not be lotion. You got to fight Deshaun Watson off. But Deshaun Watson at number 3. I'm going to go
Deshaun Watson at number 3. Yeah.
I feel like this is super. If anybody's against this, you think people going to be against this?
The Browns fans probably will. They'll be like, no, really? Deshaun over Lamar. Okay. So 3rd, or not 3rd, 4th. Who you got 4th?
Kenneth Pickett.
Kenneth Pickett. Okay. Not Trevor Siemian. Got you. All right.
5.
I'll just joke.
Not Siemian. 5 is where Siemian got some good games with the Broncos, though, while you joking. But 5, I'm going to go with the other Pro Bowler that the Ravens have. And
that's interesting because I'm going to
go with Tyler Huntley.
I was thinking Mitch Trubisky, bro.
He is garbage.
Yeah, he is
garbage.
He was decent for the Bears, right? He got
garbage. I would take Trevor Siemian over Mitchell Trubisky, bro.
So we're gonna go with Snoop Huntley then, right?
I'm gonna go with Snoop, bro, or Tyler Huntley. There's no way, bro. Trevor Siemian got some games. Didn't he give us 300 something one time?
He did. Back when we had Dalton, he definitely turned up on us. I don't think we'll ever forget that one. But that'll bring us. That's our top 5. So we've got those in order. Now we're gonna go to the running backs.
The lotion.
I'm thinking we should start at the top because when we start at the bottom, it's a little tough. Actually, you know what? Let's start at the bottom. Who you got at number 5?
Ooh. I'm gonna go. Wow. I want to go Warren.
Yeah, for me, it's between Warren and Gus Edwards.
I'm gonna go Warren.
Warren. Yeah, give me Warren, man. I think Warren low-key could take Najee Harris's spot. So are we still taking Warren over Chase Brown? We taking Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna do it because I think that Warren has a good chance of unseating Najee Harris. Honestly,
I do too.
Like this upcoming season.
I got Dobbins. I got JK here.
This might be nasty, bro.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Najee there.
Najee Harris
at 4, bro.
You like JK, but here's my thing about JK. If JK was healthy, I would be completely on board with you. But he can never finish the season. At least I know Najee Harris, he's gonna play every game.
Right.
It might be some 3-yard per carry games, but I feel like with JK, it's always, oh, look what he did weeks 14 through 18. Like so he only played like 4 weeks. Like, what are we doing? That's my only thing about JK. And I think there was one time you pointed out when he came back from the injury and he was like limping and you could see how weird his knee looked. I think he's a better player.
It's still shaky. It's still shaky.
Yeah, I think he's a better player when healthy, but when is he healthy? That's my only thing with
all right. I can see. I'll go Dobbins and Ryan has done the tiebreaker. Yeah, if he was healthy, I could put him higher. I will say this though, even when he was hurt, he has some big explosive runs.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't get explosive runs, our friend of the show, Brett Coleman, did a breakdown on this. When he doesn't get the explosive runs, he does get tackled like a lot sooner than what people think. He is so good at reading his blocks, though. Even in the game that we played, it made me so sick. We had him dead to rights a couple of times, and I thought he got right out of it a bunch of times, bro. So
yeah, I think Najee, the funny thing is, and I looked at this last year, I think he kind of was in a similar situation that Joe Mixon was in about a year or two ago, where it's like the offensive line is so bad that it doesn't matter how good you are as like a running back, right? Like it's like the line is that bad. But number 2, I'm gonna put Jodine here, man.
I'm going Jodine. I'm sorry. I'm going Jodine. Jodine, out of all these guys, since he's coming in 2017, is 5th currently right now in the all-time rushing from the guys that came in that 2017 class, ahead of CMC, ahead of Kamara, ahead of Saquon Barkley. All these guys, and I think Chubb is like 600 yards ahead of him or something like that. Joe Mixon all-purpose yards is up there top 3 in that same time frame. Joe Mixon missed this past season, missed 4 games, and still had 1,300 all-purpose yards in what was considered a down year. Since Joe Mixon has come into the NFL, he's only fumbled the ball 3 times and is the lowest fumble retention rate in the NFL in the last 20 to 30 years. Joe Mixon is a very undervalued player, and he gets a lot of receptions. Some of these guys that we're listing, including the guy at number 1, cannot catch on the level of Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon had 60 catches. That was more catches than Tyler Boyd did in the 2023 season, even with the 4 games that I just outlined that he missed. If you notice, I know a lot about Joe Mixon because there was a lot of haters this goddamn summer. So here we are. Jodine, number 2.
No, Jodine, number 2. So that leaves Nick Chubb at number 1. I mean, he's just been consistent. Even though he has an amazing line, he's been consistent. So you got to give it to Chubb. But, let's hope Joe can close that gap. We'll see this season. That's going to bring us to the next position that we have, wide receivers. This is what we do. So I got a feeling we're going to see a lot of Migo love here. Let's start off with, let's make it interesting, man. Who you got at number 5, bro?
I'm going to tell you the tricky part about this is who would I start a team with? Who's more accomplished? All that is like it's a a funny conundrum. I'm kind of, but number 5, I'm gonna go with Tyler Boyd.
That's exactly who I got at 5. Tyler Boyd, big levels. Consistently been a top 5 receiver in the AFC North for a while now, since he came into the league, since 2016. So I got TB there. At number 4, I got Deontay Johnson, man. For me, Deontay, it's actually tough, bro, because I could say Deontay or George Pickens.
I was about to say Pickens.
Deontay definitely didn't even, score a touchdown last year at all.
Right.
Pickens, his yards per catch is way higher. Deontay's yard per catch is like at 10.3. It's really been bad. So you actually could talk me out of Deontay Johnson here. But could we say Tyler Boyd is better than Deontay Johnson?
There's a really good argument. It's a really good based off of what they've accomplished. Tyler Boyd now being 27, being 28. I'm gonna factor that in a little bit. For my money, if I could start up a team right now and get them and get these guys on my team, I probably would go Deontay Johnson or George Pickens because of the upside of George Pickens. But if we're talking about who's more accomplished, Tyler Boyd's number's clear. Right. But I to me, it's like the top wide receivers currently right now. Pickens, I just think that his potential, if they were to add, now I don't know if they're going to be smart enough to do this, but if they were to add like another speed threat, like a Martavis Bryant, like on the other side, to me, it will open it up so much for Pickens because he's so good on slants. He's so good on under route joints, and he's really good on outs. They got a real good graph out on that stuff. Now, he still struggles with separation, but that's the same thing that we always talked about with A.J. Green. Since he came out of college, he's not a big separation guy. But if the ball is within his grasp, man, that's a tough dude you don't want to be in a close game with because he will go get it, and he is a guy that I think is going to be a really good wide receiver in this league.
Bro. Let's go with George Pickens here because
George Pickens, bro, is nasty.
Year, just his rookie season, pretty much did especially from a touchdowns point, past Deontay Johnson last year. Deontay only had 800 yards. I think he's a little bit on the way down. That brings us to number 3.
About who was throwing to him. It was Mitchell Trubisky at the beginning of that season for a big chunk of it. If they had Kenny throwing it for, I think George Pickens, I'm man enough to say I think he gets 1,000 yards.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Who you got at number 3?
Number 3, I'm going to go Amari Cooper.
Yep. I'm going Coop here as well. He's very solid. Obviously the number 1 option in Cleveland. He's been in the league doing it for a while now. The only thing is I feel like T. Higgins has more of upside than Amari Cooper at this point in their career. Even if you look back at the stats since T. Higgins has come into the league, his numbers have actually been a lot higher than Amari Cooper's, which is crazy. But this is also why we say T. Higgins is a top 10 receiver. And I think in the North, he's a top 2 receiver. So I got T. Higgins coming in here at number 2. You agree with that as well? I'm pretty sure we're on the same page.
I have no clue who will be number 1.
No clue. Who's at Uno? Who's at Uno? It's got to be Uno at Uno. Jamar Chase. He's a top 2 receiver in the league, man. To have 2 top 10 receivers on your team is crazy. We definitely.
Tyler Boyd, I feel like Tyler Boyd is a top 25 wide receiver in the NFL. Like once you get to like the 20s, it'd be really tough. So like you got that. And that's kind of how I looked at the whole argument. Is OBJ still like a top 25 wide receiver coming off another ACL injury? I don't know. Rashard Bateman is a good wide receiver that I like coming out the draft, but he's been injured. We don't know. And then Zay Flowers is a rookie who I really, really like, but he's never done anything. So I look at that. So somebody might say, well, you ain't got no daggone Ravens. Like, I don't care that they would say that, but I think their wide receiver core, believe it or not, is probably one of the best wide receiving cores they've ever had. But they're not on this top 5 because those guys currently have those issues going up against them going into the 2023 season.
Yeah, it's way too many question marks for the Ravens. Odell Beckham Jr., you haven't seen him play in 2 years. The last time you saw him, he was good. But before that, he still wasn't that same player on the Browns when he was playing before he went to the Rams. So you haven't seen him play in 2 years. As you mentioned with Bateman, the injury, Zay Flowers is a rookie, so you can't really throw him up there. I would add Deontay Johnson before any of those guys on the Ravens when it comes down to it. But
this list without Deontay Johnson it's a little
they're
tricky.
gonna your boy is gonna go crazy that he doesn't see Deontay Johnson on it.
I think George Pickens, like what real good quarterback play is scary. Like I'm really big on Garrett Wilson this upcoming year. I just think that Aaron Rodgers is going to take him to like a whole nother level, bro. And
but
I think
the other thing
if George Pickens
is,
has it,
you got to think about it from the perspective of what's everybody's situation. If Tyler Boyd didn't have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, he's easily a 1,000-yard receiver. Whereas with Deontay Johnson, it's just pretty much him and George Pickens over there. Now this year it's going to get a little different because you got Allen Robinson, but I mean Allen Robinson is,
I don't know. I think that the Austin III kid probably might get 300-400 yards. I know he was injured his first season or whatever, but that's a guy that I liked in the draft. I think if he's healthy, it's just like a gadget. If they use him correctly, kind of gadget, kind of like Baby Hawk was for us. Right. I think you could get 400 with him easy, like as running some stuff out of Chiefs. Matt Canada, I think he's probably one of the worst offensive coordinators in football. I don't know if he's savvy enough to use him like that. So
no, he's not.
I want to say this too with Rashard Bateman too. I'm told with that Liz Frank injury too, they're being very cautious about him and J.K. Dobbins, brand new training staff. You do not want to rush that back. I think he's a candidate to be on the pup and come back week 5. So even add that onto the Rashard Bateman one, who I think is a really, like, remember in that draft, I said, bro, we don't get Jamar Chase and we go Panay. I'll go Bateman if I had to, or Elijah Moore. Those were the two guys that I always think about. I think he's good, but if you can't stay healthy, that's the story of thousands of players that have been in the NFL.
Yep. So that brings us to the next position, tight ends. For me, I think Mark Andrews, he's the number one tight end, right? I don't think it's any kind of debate. You're not going to get a debate from me with Mark Andrews at number 1. Nope.
So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
We could, or I might switch it up on you. Who you got?
You're gonna go 3. You're gonna go
number 5. So we know Mark Andrews.
No, I'm gonna switch it up on you. Who you got at number 3?
Who do I have at number 3? I actually got Freiermuth. I got Freiermuth at number 3.
I got Freiermuth at 3 too.
Yeah, Freiermuth. I think he's definitely solid. I think he could even move up to the second best tight end in this division. But I got Freiermuth. I know that was your boy. You called him Baby Gronk. So Freiermuth.
Don't remind me of that. I had a highlight one time. I hope they never find it. It got like Gucci Mane playing and stuff. It's lit too. I was making them look really good. Then they drafted him. I was like, I ain't doing this again.
No more. Who you got at number 2?
I hate to say this, bro. I almost was going to do Freiermuth at 2, but I'm going to go Njoku at 2.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I got Njoku.
I kind of feel like they're interchangeable. I think Freiermuth as a red zone threat is super dangerous. I just think the athleticism of Njoku got the production when he's healthy as well too. I'll go with Njoku.
It just seems like he has a little bit more potential, but it wouldn't shock me if Freiermuth ends up having the better season of the two. Number 4, I got Irv Smith, man. I got Irv Smith Jr. at number 4. You got somebody else?
I got Irv at 4 too. I wanted to put him at 5, but I just couldn't justify like the dude at number 5 being above Irv Smith. Can't do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Nah, I'm with you. Who you got at 5 then?
I got Isaiah Likely at 5.
Same. I think that game that he had against us before the playoffs kind of showed like, okay, this dude can really do some things in the league if given the opportunity. He just happens to play behind, one of the best tight ends in the league, and Mark Andrews.
He's really a wide receiver to me. Like the way they use him and stuff like that, I don't even really look at him as a tight end. He is big to be, a wide receiver. But
what you mean? You don't got Drew Sample, bro? You ain't got Drew Sample at 5?
I do not have Drew Sample there. In fact, I've got probably about 8 other people that I could list before I will go to Drew Sample.
Okay, so no Devin Asiasi. I got you. All right, cool. Yeah, so that's gonna bring us to the next one. This is where to get a little interesting as well. Offensive tackles. Zim, I'm gonna let you start off with whichever number you want to start off with, and whichever player.
We're gonna go. I'm gonna start from 5.
Okay.
I'm gonna start from 5. This one is tough, but I'm gonna go. And I think they think he sucks too, which is crazy. But Jedrick Wills. I got him at 5.
For me, I actually got them close. I got Wills at 4, but I got Lyle Collins at 5. So you're thinking
really?
Lyle Collins over Jedrick Wills?
I don't got Lyle Collins on my top 5.
Ooh, this is about to get spicy then. This is about to get spicy.
I got 4 and 5. I got Okafor and Jedrick Wills. And I think Okafor.
You got Chooks in the top 5?
Solid year.
Put Chooks over Lyle, dog.
Lyle, like, is he there? He's not there.
You're saying like he has to be healthy.
Like if he was healthy and playing, practicing right now, sure, but he's not there. Okafor, like, he graded out this past season really pretty good. I'll pull it up. I would take Okafor over your boy.
Who? Over
Jonah. At right tackle?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if I'm taking him over. And I mean, I'm just probably looking at it, but I guess you could say the same about OBJ, who we didn't put on the wide receiver list. Man, bro, I'm gonna throw up, bro. I don't know if I can do that, Brian. You gonna have to be.
I think our 5
the deal breaker.
Our 5 might be totally different then.
Brian's got to be the deal breaker, man. So yeah, Jedrick Wills, that's cool. You cool with Jedrick Wills at 4?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, that's crazy. All right, let's
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Ryan be the tiebreaker on that one. He went with Lyle.
He went Lyle. Okay. I'm
right.
not. I mean, if he's there, I like him a lot. He had a rough season though, bro. Like
he did, but I feel like when he turned it on, once he got comfortable, he kind of showed flashes of what we kind of expected, like especially against Cam Jordan and all of that. Like I don't know if Chooks is holding his own against Cam Jordan. He's solid. I think he is underrated, but
he's decent, bro. He only allowed 3 sacks. He had a 63 pass blocking grade.
Nah, he's cool. It's just if you look at the season before that, he was horrible. I just don't know if I can trust it. You feel me? Like I don't know if season to season, I don't know if I can trust it. But who you got at number 3, bro?
I know you give me your 3.
All right, I got Conklin, man. I got
Conklin sucked last year, bro.
Like 3, bro. I got Conklin, man. He was better than Wills. Who you got? You got somebody else?
I was torn, bro. I was gonna go Moses.
Morgan Moses?
I thought he had a really good season.
He did have a really good season.
I was gonna go Morgan Moses at 3, which is nasty because we already know number 1.
Mm-hmm. Who's your number 1?
It's Ronnie Stanley.
Okay, yeah, I got the same number 1. So we could go ahead and put in Ronnie Stanley for number 1.
Number 2, Orlando.
I got Orlando for number 2 too. So we both agree with Orlando for number 2.
I think Conklin got re-signed, but he had a bad year. That was his worst year.
Do you think Conklin is going to remain that same guy? Or because Conklin is a little established, but so is Morgan Moses too, technically. But Conklin's like 28.
Let's go Conklin then. Let's go Conklin.
All-Pro in 2020. I know that's 3 years ago.
Yeah, and Morgan Moses is old as hell. But I'm gonna tell you this. If I had Lyle or Morgan Moses like as an option right now, I'm taking Morgan Moses because I know that he's available. I wouldn't have Lyle at 5.
So you would want Morgan Moses at 5? I think you might be able to
over because it's just because of Lyle, the availability function. If I'm gonna be fair, like look at the Baltimore wide receiver list. Nobody on there because none of them are really available. Zay Flowers.
All right, let's go with Morgan Moses. You just sold me on Morgan Moses. Let's go Morgan Moses.
Ryan made the tiebreaker. He's got it at at full health.
This is a consensus. Wincinnati board.
Right. I mean, I'm not mad at Lyle full health. I'm 100% taking him over Morgan Moses. But to be fair, Morgan Moses this past season had a pretty good season. Solid. I get it. He's 32 years old. I think I looked at it. Probably only had like 3 penalties or something like that. I feel like their whole entire offensive line is really predicated on run blocking. So I think that some of the things that, I think they want to do, I don't think they're going to do as good.
He's ancient, but I'll let him slide.
Morgan Moses on our list is nasty though. If you would have said that to me last year, I'd have been like, yeah, no way, bro.
Nah, it's all good. Nah, we gotta be fair. They can't say that
if Lyle came out there and started practicing, I'm gonna come back on this show and we're gonna change. I'm gonna take Morgan Moses off the list.
That's real because technically we kind of docked some of the other players. We docked the Ravens for health. In this situation, we're rewarding them for Morgan Moses. So let's go to the next one, which would be interior offensive line. I'll start with one of mine, man. This might be a layup, though. I got Joe Bitonio at number 1.
Super easy.
Yeah, I got that. What's up, Ingray?
He got a Hall of Fame resume. I mean, that's a
layup. Okay, so number 5 is where it was interesting for me. I don't know if it was
number 2. Number 2 is kind of interesting for me.
Number 2, okay.
Yeah, bro.
Number two, I got Wyatt Teller.
Really?
Yeah, Wyatt Teller is a beast, bro.
I got Wyatt Teller at like 4. 4? Bro.
Ooh, this is where it's gonna get interesting.
I could no way I'm putting you said Teller at 3?
I got Teller at 2.
I think that Isaac Simelu or whatever from the Eagles. I just think that was the number 1 free agent signing this all season, like out of all offensive linemen in the year that he just put up.
Now, don't forget, Wyatt Teller was second team All-Pro in 2021.
All right, that's a nasty list. That's a nasty. So then, what about my boy Cap? See, I was gonna go Kappa, but now, man,
who you got, Kappa or Zeitler?
I had Zeitler at 5.
Ooh, we're gonna be okay. So let me give you what mine was.
I had that, bro. The year that Alex Kappa just had, bro.
I had Bitonio, Teller, Zeitler, Kappa, and then I was torn between T. Lindy and Ted Karras.
T. Lindy and pass pro is not it, bro. That little meatball getting rolled over, bro. T. Lindy and pass pro, and like, nah, I got, I didn't even have Linderbaum on my 5,
you
bro.
Thinking of going
because I put Simelu or Isaac Simelu or whatever.
Yeah,
I got him on there. I don't even got Linderbaum on the list. I feel like Linderbaum in zone blocking schemes, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I didn't have him on the list. I had 5 as I kind of had him on the list. It was Ted Karras / him, and I was like gonna try to duke it out. But so you said
hold on, you got Zeitler at 4.
I got Zeitler at 3.
See, so I got Zeitler at like 4. Zeitler is not.
That would mean that you have Kappa at 3.
Yes, I'm not taking Zeitler over Kappa. No way. No way.
Yeah, he's too old. I think
Kappa balled out last year, bro. Kappa was one of the best guards in football this past season, bro.
Yeah, he was like our best lineman for real last year.
For sure. I gotta go Kappa right there.
All right. Is Zeitler 4th then? Are we gonna put Zeitler there?
Yeah, let's go Zeitler 4 because we're close on that.
And then you're saying that you want to put the Steelers dude. So you would put the Steelers dude over Ted Karras and Linderbaum.
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
Yep. Who just wrote that?
Just wrote what?
Talking about Burrow something.
Nah, we don't have Teddy K. We don't have Teddy K. Is Ryan overruling us? We got Isaac.
Burrow hurt.
Wait, what? Nah. Somebody trolling.
Nah, it's real.
Burrow just came up lame while running to his right. Not sure if it's his right calf or ankle. He's being tended to right now. He's leaving practice. So, yep, this is breaking news. Joe Burrow. This is exactly why you need to knock on wood, bro. Joe Burrow just went down at training camp as we're recording this. He did, though, have like a sleeve on his leg. It looks like the card is coming out for Burrow. Just got carted off the field. He was grabbing his calf. So the interesting thing about this is he was actually wearing a sleeve on his calf, where a lot of people were wondering, he didn't have that on yesterday. Was it something that he possibly tweaked? We'll have to see. So, yeah, Joe Burrow getting carted off of the field. Looks like he was grabbing his calf. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what the news is. That's crazy, though.
Wow. So he leaves the practice on a cart. Joe Burrow. Just after we were just talking about a full off season.
Yep.
Insane.
Yep. That's why you got to knock on wood, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy. But hopefully Joe is okay, man. Obviously it just happened. So we'll have to see what happens with Joe. But yeah, we appreciate you guys for coming through. We actually went through to mess with our sponsor, Midwest Best Barbecue. So we're going to toss it to them while we figure this out.
Welcome to Midwest Fest, home of the G-Funk and Uno Wings. It started out very simple. When you can't find something that you like, you make it yourself. That small dissatisfaction has turned into our family business. Finding a good barbecue sauce without artificial smoke was almost impossible. So my husband, Tim, decided to create his own. Simply Sweet was born in our home kitchen in 2008. Our core values that we have for our family are values we felt were just as important to lay the foundation for our business and have in our team. Hard work, accountability, giving it your very best, warmth, care, and empathy, and of course, loving the Bengals. Our core mission at Midwest Best Barbecue is to be the place where warm smiles and comforting food made with love give you a meal out, but with all the feelings of home. Where our Uno wings make you do the gritty, and our sweet tea always hits the spot.
Hooray! 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 They gon' beat the Bengals! Hooray! 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 They gon' beat the Bengals! No!
Shout out to Midwest Best Barbecue, 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. Me and Zim were actually just there. They have amazing beef brisket, Uno wings, Grippo wings, everything. Definitely be sure to check them out. So we're going to hope that the news is just something precautionary. Obviously, he's in a contract year kind of situation or a contract negotiation. Obviously, that's not something that you would want to see. But we're just going to shoot some prayers up for Joe Burrow. It did appear that it was the same leg that he had the sleeve on. So he had like a compression sleeve on that leg. So something worth watching, and definitely something to keep up with for sure, because that is number 9. So we'll stay tuned. We'll definitely be giving you guys our thoughts at a later date. Zen, was there anything else? I know this is kind of a somber note to end it on, but you have any other thoughts outside of that?
Appreciate everybody rocking with us, making sure that you come and checked out the show today. Got the live Burrow injury news, so just making sure that we keep Burrow in our prayers on that one. I just watched the injury, non-contact, didn't really look that good, limped off. They're saying that it could be calf, could be high, it could be a cramp, it could be a muscle cramp, it could be that, and so I'm hoping for that, the way that, he kind of ran off, kind of hobbled off or whatever. It could be that, but they're going to be precautionary about it. But yeah, let's just stay positive with it. I'll be still on Twitter, and Asa will be too. We'll still be doing some stuff to kind of check on all the different updates on that. So keep it positive. Let's see where we go from that. Like I said, appreciate y'all rocking with us all the time.
Yep. And before we get out of here, we actually had 2 super chats. One, it looks like it's from Ishmael Haji for $1.99. Appreciate that. He says, "Hey Zim, JK here. Can you unblock me? JB_Patrick."
JB_Patrick on Twitter, or is this Instagram?
It looks like probably Twitter. JB_Patrick without a C. And then we got another one from Doug McMenamin. So appreciate that, bro, for $2. He says, "Have you guys talked DJ Reader yet?" We have not. DJ Reader, I think, could be a potential guy that may get one of those 1-year extensions similar to a Trey Hendrickson. We'll have to wait that out and see. But yeah, once again, thank you guys. Let's hope that it's cramps. Because I just cramped up last week messing around in a OG basketball league. So let's hope that it's cramps. But thank you guys once again for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And of course, we're going to end this with a yes, Sirski.
Yes, Sirski. Hello, world. We got a special show as always. TJ Awuzie, Jimmy Chase, Coach Jimmy Burrow.
How do you balance being a professional athlete and family obligation?
These are top 5 Bengals of all time.
All time?
Yeah, shock the world.